Good morning, everyone. This is Anthony, Wall Street Trader. It's 10:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. Okay, let's just roll right into this bad boy. This is not financial advice, only educational, only educational, only educational. Twitter link if you want to know what's going on intraday, as well as the subscribe button. I do other cryptos as well, all related to infrastructure. I feel like that's the area that's the sleeping giant, the sleeping giant. Let's go into the allocation. All right, I'm 100% in on NuCypher in terms of what I am willing to risk on this investment. I'm in at an average cost basis of 43.7 cents. I have no particular point of exit right now that I have defined that's realistic in the near term. I have a longer term view of where I think I would start exiting, but only exiting not because I don't believe in the long term view of NuCypher, but because I actually want to take a little off the table and plant it at maybe a pullback, in the event of a pullback, pull it into, get a better price. So that's how I kind of play the game. I don't take too much off because the thing can continue rallying past that. And I have a longer term view on NuCypher as a whole. So let's take a look at the markets. NuCypher US dollar rallying a bit, a few percentage points up from yesterday. We're at 31.46. Nothing compelling at all. But if we start looking at the underlying drivers, and before we get into that, the underlying drivers of NuCypher is Bitcoin and the NuCypher strength of Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. I continue to think this thing is going to rally. I think there's been a boatload of FUD, people trying to pull this thing down. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure if it was a coordinated agenda or what. I'm not a big conspiracy guy. But that being said, I think that, I think in general, there's just been an onslaught of bad news. I think overall, we're going to start to see this thing go up. This triangle pattern, as we all remember, is kind of bearish because we're entering into this triangle on a down in, we're entering the triangle in downbound. So it comes in downbound, then it bounces around into a triangle pattern. Generally speaking, that's slightly bearish, slightly. And I say slightly because it's like 55 to 45. So, the odds are slightly stacked against us. But in the event that it was a downturn here, and it did turn bearish, some people are calling for this thing to go to 20. I highly disagree, but look, nothing's sure here. So I have to be honest here. I think that if it does go to the downside, I think we'll see it come down this way and bounce off this green line. Why, you ask? Well, let's take a look at the longer term view. This has been kind of like respecting this strong line since all the way back in March. So we've gotten this is March of 2020, by the way, just so everyone is clear. So this is over a year old in the making. So I have to believe that given it's a year and 3 months in the making, I have a firm belief that if this thing does go down, we bounce back onto the trend line and go up. However, that being said, I have more odds that we'll wind up going up than down. A couple of reasons for that, some of it's macro related, some of it's technical related. The macro related points are related to the fact that there are ETFs bazonkers in the world right now. We have ETFs that are coming out that are all related to Bitcoin. And I think that that's driving a lot of investment. In addition to that, over the last year, we didn't really hear much about institutions back in March, but we heard a lot about it starting like later on in 2020 in December timeframe, where people were committing to it. Now you have all these hedge funds and other big institutions opening up for custodying the assets and providing services to the assets. That's a standard deviation, several standard deviations higher than where we were back in March. So I anticipate that this line actually will get more aggressive to the upside. I think everyone knows in the back of their head, even grandmas and grandpas out there saying, they're now starting to warm up to Bitcoin. They've heard enough about it to know it's real. It's here to stay. The only person that's probably not into it is Charlie Munger, the 99-year-old guy. But who cares? right? I think this is here to stay. I think it's going to hit 100,000. I think by the end of the year, we're going to hit 80,000. Clear shot, clear shot. So let's take a look at how this plays out. Going over to the NuCypher Bitcoin pair, I truly believe that this thing here is, we're right down to it. We're down to the line. I think we're gonna look. This is what's been going on since yesterday's discussion on the video that we had. Right? I said we were going to consolidate. We kind of went. We continued to stay within these lines, and I think something's gonna happen. And I think it's gonna happen tomorrow, and it may happen in the wee hours if this line is perfect. But I think something's going to break. Something's going to break, and I think it's going to be to the upside. Why? Look, Bitcoin's almost 38,000 right now. I think overall Bitcoin rallies and rallies and rallies. But again, we have to keep our eye on Bitcoin. Unfortunately, this thing's going to really take everything with it one way or the other. And again, if we see it break to the downside, I think we're going to have a low of 31,000. If we do go down, I think the odds are against it because of that longer term trend support. And I think that people recognize that this thing is going to go higher by the end of the year. So that being said, I think a lot of people are going to hold on for dear life or hodl it. And I think we're going to wind up breaking to the upside. I'm looking for a 40 to 42 handle. Let's see how this plays out. And a couple of other things I just wanted to go through with folks. As my mouse battery just died and I'm plugging in a wired backup. There we go. A couple of things that are happening. So everyone should understand that there's a joint community call tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think everyone should be on that. Ask questions about this proposal, which NuCypher will be doing with NuCypher and Keep, that are doing a hard merge together on this new network called Keanu. It's a shared network between the two. It's a collaborative effort, and I think it should be an interesting call. I'll be on it, but definitely it will give you opportunities to ask any questions that you have before the actual voting happens from their nodes, which will begin on the 4th of June. So there you have it. I'll post the links down below so you have it to add to your calendar, to join the Zoom meeting, as well as to look at the proposal. Have a good day, everyone. We'll talk soon.